Hi, I'm Michael Lee, and this session will cover how to attract new customers through new services. So today we're going to be focusing on the 4 phases of how to launch a new service to attract new customers. The 4 phases are the explore phase, the evaluation phase, the prepare phase, the launch phase. And then within each phase, I'm actually going to give you examples of how I went about doing each phase in my practice to launch new services. And then at the end, I'm actually going to talk about 3 services I want you to consider for your practice that you can begin offering to clients right now. So I hope you get a ton out of this, but I think really you're going to leave with tangible action steps and great examples that you can take to implement at your practice to launch a new service. All of life's an experiment. There's more experience you make, the better. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Launching a new service can be scary. It can be like the first day you felt when you launched your new business, when you launched your practice. Most of us in the accounting field, we're used to delivering the same kind of service every day, week, month, year. But when it comes to doing something outside of accounting, it can feel, it can be filled with anxiety. And so I want you to go back to that day where you started your practice and why you started your practice and what excited you about it. And for most of us, the exciting part of it was helping small business customers, helping our clients. And today I want you to be able to leave with the ability to help even more clients, but also to help your current clients with more problems that they're facing. And that's the exciting part about launching a new service, is that you get to be involved with solving new problems and more problems for your current clients and new clients. The first phase we're going to look at is the explore phase. And really, this is the phase where you get to put your research hat on, your investigative hat on, and figure out where your firm, where your practice could potentially get involved in launching a new service. The explore phase focuses on understanding your customers' top challenges that aren't currently being solved by you and your accounting firm. Again, the explore phase really focuses on what are the top challenges your customers are facing that we're not able to solve right now, or we're not at least charging for that. So for example, the question you want to ask is, what types of problems are your customers facing outside of accounting problems? Your customers are facing a variety of problems every single day, and they're probably sharing about those problems with you or your team members. So the explore phase lets you go, well, what are those problems? What are the types of problems? What are they facing? And I wouldn't be surprised if you or someone on your team was already helping your clients solve these problems and you're just not charging your clients for this service. So in the explore phase, you want to create a list of 3 to 5 top challenges. That's your goal. You want to come out of this exploration time with, what are the 3 to 5 top challenges that my customers are facing? The explore action looks like this. One way to do this is a customer survey. So you can send out an email to survey your current customers and to ask, what are some of their top challenges that they're facing? You can do this with a simple mass email to your customers, or you can do this individually, more personalized. But you would want to do some kind of customer survey. The customer surveys could also be really quick 5-minute phone calls or video calls. Observation sessions. Now, Intuit's really known for this, where they follow their customers into their places of work and they watch them use the software. Observation sessions for you could be spending time with your customer either for a day or a few hours in person on a video call, and you are observing what their day-to-day is like. You're observing what a normal day is like and the challenges that are coming to them throughout the day. So your focus in this session is observing and writing down, jotting down, what are the problems that are coming up? What am I noticing? What am I observing here? And these are just problems that you're noticing that you may or may not be able to solve, but they're coming up. Others are interviews, doing literal customer interviews. And they also can be customers of your team members. In this phase, in this part, you're going to actually reach out to customers that you're going to do a video call interview or in-person interview of, and you're going to ask them about their business. You're going to ask them, hey, I'm here not to talk about accounting, but I actually want to know, what are some problems you're facing at your business, and how could we possibly help you solve them? So doing customer interviews to really define the problem statements. And then asking your team, exploring in this phase, if you have team members, you want to get them involved. Don't assume you have all the answers. You actually might not, especially if you're at a bigger firm and you have team members. Those team members might be the ones that are actually dealing with customers daily and might be able to give you the answer of, well, no, these are the main problems that our customers are facing. We don't have any solutions for these. They ask me all the time, and I'm not really able to give them an educated answer. So ask your team and get them involved. Examples for me and for my firm Reconciled, in our sales calls, we were often asked if we could help with HR challenges of our customers. We were asked quite a bit of hey, in the sales process, hey, is HR something you deal with? Do you help with anything besides just payroll and accounting? Can you help deal with these? So that came up quite a bit. And our sales team didn't have a solution for that, and we didn't have a solution for that. Reconciled employees were also being regularly asked for assistance on how to handle HR and payroll situations that were outside of the scope of payroll processing. So, of course, as an accounting firm, most accounting firms offer payroll processing, but our Reconciled employees were beginning to be asked about benefits and about compensation and about how to deal with turnover, how to hire and fire, company culture, employee onboarding, all of these things that really aren't in the scope of traditional payroll processing and weren't in the skill set of the accounting professionals at Reconciled. Third example is customers were regularly asking for advice on how to run their business and grow it. They saw the success of Reconciled. They saw how happy the Reconciled employees were. And they wanted to know, hey, can we ask you, can we get some advice from your leaders or from you, Michael, on how to run our business, how to grow it, because I'm having some challenges. And most of the time, these challenges were almost never related to accounting. So these are some examples that we ran into in the explore phase. Evaluate phase. So after you've spent some time exploring and really talking to your customers and your team members, you want to spend time now evaluating the list of problems you've come up with and seeing where your firm could get involved in solving these problems. The evaluate stage focuses on reviewing the list of customer challenges and identifying one problem to solve with a new service line. So you're going to look at the 3 to 5 customer challenges you've come up with, and you're going to identify one of those to solve with one service. Questions you want to ask during this time. Which customer problems are you equipped to solve and can easily provide value today? So it's really important that when you look at the customer problems you come up with, how ready or how equipped do you feel to solve that problem? And then can you provide value today, or can you get equipped or resourced to provide value today? And if you can do that, that one's really going to stand out. That service, that problem is really going to stand out because you're going to be able to go straight to your customers and go, hey, I've noticed this is a common problem. I will provide value. Or the other question is, which customer problems are you excited to solve? When you read some of the customer challenges, when you look at them, does something light up in you? Do you get excited to be a part of the solution? Is it sales challenges, operations challenges, HR challenges, whatever it is? Which of them excites you and your team? Okay, and my encouragement to you as well is to choose just one service that you want to launch. Don't try to provide multiple services or solve multiple problems. Pick one problem and focus on one service you want to launch, because the goal here is to be successful at launching a new service. And when you do that, then you're going to have the confidence and the ability to launch future services and new services. But right now, we're going to focus on one problem to solve and really one solution so you can really make a increased probability of success on that service you want to launch. So the evaluation in action looks like this. For each problem, you create a list of possible services or solutions that can solve that problem. So when you look at the problem statement that you've stated about the customer, what are the possible ways you could solve those problems? There's got to be a variety of ways. And then also rate how equipped you feel providing each possible service through your firm and what resources you would need in order to do so. So if you picked, sales challenges as your top problem, you want to rate, well, how equipped is your team and who on your team is able to do that? Or what resources would you need to be equipped in order to do it? Involving your team in the process of getting their feedback is going to be really important because you're going to want to know, well, what does my team think about some of these problems and the potential solutions? And is there anything they're excited about? Is there anything that they've already been working on? Or maybe they've already been giving this advice without you knowing, and you haven't been being charged for it. So get your team involved to think about that. And then get feedback from some of your customers on what they think about the new service options. Hopefully in the explore phase, you really did some deep dives with customers. You observed their problems. You began asking probing questions. But now as you're evaluating those problems, you want to talk to them again. And you want to get some feedback from them on, hey, if we launch this new service, is this something you'd be willing to pay for? Is this a big enough problem that you think it would be really valuable, and would you trust us to solve it? I think that's really important. So examples of what this looks like at Reconciled. We wanted to explore the issue of HR because that was the number one question coming up outside of accounting. So we took a look at HR and then what I would consider more than payroll compliance or more than payroll processing questions. They kept coming to the team. So I began asking Reconciled employees and customers for their possible solutions. How could we solve this for you? And I remember one customer specifically said to me, well, I already trust you with my financials, and I already trust you with payroll processing. It would be great if I could trust you with HR advice, if I could trust you with and talk to you more about the people challenges I'm having at the company, because it always inevitably has a financial impact whenever there's turnover or whenever we want to go hire somebody new. And I don't have anybody to talk to about that right now, but you're the closest resource I have and the ones I trust. And you already know all the information about these people. You know all their compensation and everything. So I would love to talk to you about it, and I would pay for that. A customer also introduced us to an HR expert in their network that was interested in launching a similar kind of service. So they knew we were exploring this. We had talked to them, and they said, hey, why don't you talk to this person? They're an HR expert. They can really help you explore whether this is worth launching and how to do it. And then Reconciled began asking specific questions customers about this new service and if they would pay for it, right? And so those are examples of how we implemented it. And it was really helpful because we got all the feedback we needed. And also, we began understanding some of the gaps we had in our own firm on if we really wanted to solve this problem, how were we going to be successful at launching it? The third phase is the prepare phase. So this is where you're going to actually prepare to launch the service that you've picked. In the prepare phase, your real focus on preparing is being prepped for success, and you're going to ask a few questions. Who can be the primary resource to provide this service to our customers? So don't make the assumption that it's you. Maybe even if you're excited about it or you're equipped at it, maybe you're not the right person to launch it. Maybe you don't have the time. Who can be that primary resource internally to provide this service to your customers, or do you have to go and find a partner to get involved? Do I know anyone in my network that I want to be involved in this process, right? Just like I used an HR advisor to be able to launch HR services, do you know anybody in your network to launch this new service? It's really important that you know who in your network is going to be involved and who the primary point of contact, primary resource is at your company, because you want to be able to be successful and make sure that you're putting your best foot forward with the customer. And then what changes do I need to make internally so that we can be successful? There are going to be marketing changes, sales changes. You're going to have to get people on the same page. So this question really makes you want to think through, what are the changes I'm going to have to have? Do I need to hire more people? Do I need to set a budget? What do I need to do? This is where the prepare phase is really, really important. So what does the prepare phase look like in action? You want to create a list of the internal, external team members that can be involved in the launch of this new service. You're going to have team members really excited. You definitely are going to have team members that love the new thing you're doing at your firm. So you want to create a list of those people, and maybe people you want to give opportunities to. Then you want to define the roles and the processes of how this service is going to be actually delivered. This is really important because most of us in accounting, we know the steps in the back of our hand on how to deliver our accounting services on a regular basis. And we usually have those documented. You're going to want to document how you're going to deliver this service. What are the different roles? What are the expectations? Who's going to do the sales? Who's going to do the onboarding, right? Who's going to provide the service on an ongoing basis? How do you know when the service begins and ends? Is there a deliverable or is there not a deliverable? How does the customer know that they received the value that they received? So you want to define the roles and the processes on delivering the service. It's important to choose a tech partner too. So some of the services that you want to launch might involve the need for a tech platform or tech partner. You know, if you're going to be helping with marketing or sales, maybe knowing the tech partner, the defined tech partner for the CRM solution you might want to recommend or leverage or implement is going to be important. So choosing tech partner, evaluating the tech partners to help you launch a service is key. You do want to get on the same page internally on how to sell this to the customer. So in the prepare phase, making sure that everybody in the company is aware of what's happening, knows about it, and knows how you want to ideally communicate and talk about this with your customers. That way, there's a lot of excitement and customers are getting the same message of what's happening. And then lastly, define the pricing model and sales contract. So, you know, like everything else, you want to charge for this, you want to make money, you don't want to give this away for free. What does the pricing model look like? And what updates do you have to change to your sales contract? Do you have to do a completely new sales template? Can you incorporate this new service into the current sales template? What does the pricing model look like? And at the end, I'll talk a little bit more about pricing models to consider. Examples of how the prepare looked at Reconciled. We began meeting with an HR advisor and network that we were introduced to brainstorm the launch of an HR service line. And we were asking the question, do we launch this service internally as a service line, as a part of Reconciled, or do we launch it outside of Reconciled as a separate company? We began asking those questions, and meeting with an outside expert really helped us understand what direction we should go and also the gaps and whether and how we would approach our customers with that. So we began doing that preparation. The Reconciled team members, in order to fill their gaps, when Gusto launched their People Advisor certification, a ton of Reconciled team members took advantage of that certification and went on to the platform and got equipped. That helped us fill gaps around not just basic payroll understanding, but also understanding, well, what are the other client problems just above payroll that we're going to be willing to be involved with? And how could we leverage a platform like Gusto to serve our customers? And then I met with the sales team to discuss how to sell these services, whether it was HR services or more than payroll compliance, how to sell those services, how to approach the customer, but then how to package it with our accounting service so that a customer still felt the same experience in the sales process that they were used to with Reconciled, but now they were just being introduced to a new service line that we were launching. But we were still the same firm, we just have added this. So meeting with the sales team to make sure they understood that, we were all on the same page. So now we're at the launch phase. And the launch phase is really focused on getting your first customer through the initial sales and marketing process. So the launch phase is, after you've done all the exploration and the evaluation and the prep, it's launching the new service. It's really exciting. The launch phase focuses on getting those first customers, and you want to ask yourself the question, do I have any current customers that I can ask to be my first customers for this service? When launching a new service, you want to be able to maybe try it out or have customers that are willing to be a little more forgiving, especially if you're new to this and you've never done a new service before. Do you have customers that are really for your success, that really excited to be working with you? You've done a great job for them, and they would be more than happy to try out a new service if you maybe even give them a discount or if they gave a testimonial in exchange. So do I have any current customers that have this problem I want to solve or are willing to be the first beta customers of me solving it? And then who on my network can help me get the message out about this new service? So you want to ask yourself, are there people in your network that can be that you can get excited, that can get the message, help you get the message out, that can let people know, hey, my firm has launched this new service and they've already provided a ton of value in accounting services. Now we want to launch this new one. Can they help you get the message out? There's always going to be people that will be your advocates and champions in that. So definitely leverage them. What does launch in action look like? It looks like first sending out a newsletter and announcing the launch of that new service. It looks like sending out press releases to the target market areas, whether the industry or the physical market area that you want to launch this service. And it also means reaching out to a specific list of current customers to sell the service to. So that's what I did. Reconciled is, I went down a targeted list and said, hey, these are the top 5, 10 customers that I really think could use this service, but also are going to be really friendly to working with us as we work out all the kinks and deliver this for the first time. Examples. So when we first launched our HR advisory service, we decided to launch it as a separate company, but really closely align it to Reconciled. So we let all the Reconciled customers know about the HR services and that this new service, even though it was a separate company with a separate team, was going to be really a sister business to us. So that was really helpful because it helped humanly launch with success and capture early customers from our current customer base. But then when Reconciled began looking at, well, how do we still launch something that maybe isn't exactly HR advisory, but is more than just payroll processing? Reconciled went to look at the resources we had available to us, and we worked with Gusto as a tech partner, and we were able to take a part of their People Advisory Accelerator that they launched this year. And that accelerator was really helpful with Reconciled being able to true up all the resources we needed internally, and also have a go-to-market approach of offering what we call Payroll Plus at Reconciled, really people advisory services to our customers. And that was super helpful. So, in the launch phase, we reached out to a tech partner. We reached out to resources we had to make sure that we were going to be successful. Now, I want to talk about 3 kinds of services that I want you to consider for your firm. And these are services that I think any accounting firm can offer. These are 3 that I've successfully launched through Reconciled, and they may be something that you can do, but they're not the only services you could launch. There's a variety of others. These are just 3 examples. So I want to start with coaching, mentoring, and people advisory. Now, each of these are unique and involve a unique person or persons at your firm, and they also have a different target audience, different customer base that you're going to go after, and they solve different problems. So I'm going to talk about each one in detail. But in summary, the first, coaching is really focused on your ability to listen and ask great questions. You don't need firsthand experience to be a great coach. You don't have to have experience in the industry or even doing the types of things of the client you're coaching. You just need to be able to listen and ask great questions and probe, really dig. Mentoring, this service is focused on sharing the lessons that you learned from your past experiences and your successes, and then providing guidance and lessons from those to people. So mentoring is great in that you get to share what you've already learned and what you already know and what you've experienced. And then with people advisory, this service expands your experience with payroll and really focuses on advising your clients on the impact of their people on the business and how they can strategically leverage their people with the growth of their business. So I want to talk about each one in detail. First is coaching. So coaching, again, as I said, is great for those who really enjoy listening and have a skill of listening and can ask good questions. This is not going to be great for anybody who doesn't want to listen, or anybody at your firm with a personality type that wants to talk a lot or wants to give a lot of advice. Coaching is not about giving advice. Coaching is about asking great questions so that your client actually finds the answers through your probing. The business owner type is really those who are stuck or desire to continue growth. So it's a wide variety of client types, but it's really going to be the business owner. They find themselves stuck in their business. They don't know what to do next, or they desire continuous growth. Maybe they are doing well, maybe they are growing, but they just want that extra edge, and they can get that through coaching. They want to make sure they don't get in the way of themselves. They can do that through coaching. What the beauty of this is, really anybody at your firm can be involved as a coach, because as I said before, you don't need the past experience or past accomplishments to do this. You just need to be skilled at really great listening and really great question asking. And the resource I highly recommend is the International Coaching Federation. They are the largest governing body of coaching resources in the world, and they provide both free as well as paid resources and memberships. And they provide just the direction you need to be able to start coaching services. And people from all walks of life have become successful coaches. There's obviously bad coaches and great coaches. The best coaches are not the ones with a ton of experience. The best ones have learned to be skilled at listening actively and asking great questions. So think about this for your firm. I provide this service right now where firm owners come to me directly that have met me and they want to get coached, or business owners want to get coached. And I spend almost all the time letting them talk. I come up with a list of questions, I listen, and it's a very, very satisfying time. It's a very rewarding time. And I often see breakthroughs of my clients who go through coaching on a regular basis. The next one's mentoring. Now, mentoring is a little different in coaching in that it's still meeting with a client, and often one-to-one, but it's sharing from your past experience and providing guidance. So mentoring is really great when you have a business owner or client that they really want to learn from your specific experience because you've been there, or you've been there, maybe you even made mistakes, but you've been there and you have lessons from it. That is going to be really, really, really important. So this is great for anyone at your practice, anyone in your firm who has some experiences they can share from. It doesn't have to be just the successful business owner leader. Example could be if you have a client with sales challenges and their salesperson needs mentoring, you can be a mentor to their salesperson. If you have a client who has operational challenges and their operations leader needs mentoring, your operations leader can mentor them. So this really can fit with a lot of different roles and a lot of different types of people in business owners, but also the employees at your clients. The resource I recommend is SCORE. Now, SCORE is the largest network of free business mentors in the country. They provide this mentoring all over the country. And so if you wanted to learn how mentoring is done really well, SCORE has been a great resource. Generally, the SCORE mentors are experienced business professionals, but they provide this mentoring for free, and they do this as a service to the community because it's funded by the tax dollars. But at your firm, you could charge for this. And there are always clients looking for great mentors, either for themselves or for their employees. The third service, people advisory. So people advisory focuses on payroll understanding and taking that payroll understanding, broadening it out to focus on the people impact of an organization. and really the financial impact as it grows. So payroll advisory leverages the fact that you and your firm have understanding and knowledge about payroll processing, and that you're equipped at it already, and you understand the financial ramifications of what happens when an organization grows with people. So the client type are really businesses who are growing fast, or they're wanting to be more strategic on how they approach their talent resources. That could be a wide variety of your clients, but clients that have fast growth, turnover, or they just want to be more strategic now that they have a large team. Those are the client types. The person at your firm that's going to be equipped for this is anybody that has payroll understanding and has done payroll processing, and they also have advisory abilities, because people advisory, in the term is advisory, is really going to be focusing on that advisory skill. So you don't really want to put a new professional who's never done payroll or doesn't have an understanding of it. That's going to be really, really challenging for them. So a great resource for this is Gusto's People Advisory. I mentioned that before. They've got a certification program. They're launching an accelerator program to really help your firm. So the Gusto People Advisory program is going to be great for you if you want some handles and a go-to-market strategy and how you can begin offering people advisory through your firm. The last thing, and not the least important, it's actually really important, is the pricing options. I talked about this, that we would just talk about the different types of pricing options that you can consider when you're launching any new service. And this is often a question that comes up a lot for me. I'm asked, how do you consider what to charge? What do you do? Well, there are 3 pricing options, and they're very similar to accounting fees, but with any service line, you want to look at these 3. There's, of course, the traditional hourly pricing option. That pricing option is you charge a specific rate for your time per hour, and maybe you charge at minimum increments, like 15-minute increments. This is common, right? Most accounting firms do this, and your clients then have an expectation that the more experience, the resources that is providing the service, then there's going to be a higher hourly rate. That's an expectation. The challenge with this one is you're really just getting paid for your time, and how does the client know when a project is done, or what's the realistic time frame for a project without estimates? So this is the traditional way, and it works for a lot of firms, a lot of people, but it is traditional. The second option is monthly fee. This is where you can charge a fixed monthly rate for your service, and it can be the same rate for all of your customers for that defined service, or you can charge a different rate based on value. And this is where you can really see margin happen at a high level, because if you have a customer whose problem is really big, and if you solve it, you can really help them, they may perceive your monthly rate and the value of it to be higher than somebody else who maybe this problem isn't that big of a deal. So at Reconciled, we focus on the monthly fee. We have flat monthly fees for all of our customers, but we really build in value pricing on those fees to make sure that we're extracting the full amount of value that we're providing to that customer for our service. And the last one to consider is project basis. So you can charge per project for reaching milestones or reaching timeframes. The project basis can also be used for a la carte services for a short period of time and not ongoing. So if you know that the service you're providing, that there is this project is not going to go ongoing, or this customer is not going to be long term, but they've got a specific need, you can charge a high project fee, or a project fee that has specific milestones. You can also charge an upfront fee that's a project fee. So for example, if you're signing on a new customer to coaching or mentoring, maybe the first 3 months are longer time frames in which you're interacting with the customer and doing work. So that you may want to consider charging a project fee, an onboarding fee, in order to evaluate that customer, to prepare them for mentoring services or coaching services. Or if it's people advisory, maybe you're helping them with an employee manual, or you're helping them evaluate a strategy around benefits, offerings, or compensation, then you may want to charge a project fee for that project. So these are the 3 options. Any of them would work. My recommendation is to do the one that makes sense for your firm, but also that really shows the value of what you're providing in your new service line. So key takeaways. What did we learn today? The two main questions I want you to ask yourself, maybe you're watching this going, I'm not ready yet, Michael, but I've been inspired. The key takeaways. What types of problems are your customers facing outside of accounting problems? Just start there. What are those problems? Every firm has customers that have problems more than just accounting ones. So what are the types of problems your customers are facing? And which customer problems are you excited to solve? Which customer problems can you see you and your firm involved solving? And maybe you're already doing that, and that's actually what you're more excited about. But maybe you're not charging for it yet, or you haven't defined it, or you haven't told sales to start selling it to other customers. So those are the two questions I really want you to walk away with is what types of problems are your customers facing outside of accounting problems? And which customers are you excited to solve problems for? Involve your customers and your team members as you evaluate this whole process and you go through this process of launching a new service. It's really important to involve them because it's going to increase your likelihood for success. It's going to get people excited, especially your team members, but also early customers. And then don't be afraid to find outside resources for help. There's a variety of resources for help. I mentioned a few related to coaching or mentoring or people advisory, but there's also resources and professionals out there that help companies launch new services and products. So find outside resources for help, find experts in the fields that you want to get into, you want to explore, and then even ask your customers. Some of your customers might be willing to help. That's all the time we have today, but thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.